Hello everybody, this is Joel, aka Bourbon Dingo, and welcome to episode 22 of my second series on Let's Play Crusader Kings 2. It's been a little while since I recorded the last episode, but what we were doing is waiting for this English... I don't think it's a succession crisis. I think this is just a whole bunch of people claiming England for themselves, all at once. And what we're actually waiting on right now is for... Is for England to reform. When England reforms, we're going to press our claims because we have quite a few claims. And I'm really hoping they reform soon because my king is getting fairly old. Almost to the point now where I'm going to go ahead and stop gathering claims. And we'll send him to... I don't know. We'll send him to sow dissent in the Holy Roman Empire or something. No, that's not something I really want to do. In Brittany. We'll send him to sow dissent in Brittany down here. But really, beyond that, it's a waiting game. We get the clock started. As I said before, what we're doing is we're keeping about 500 gold minimum in our... There were two people imprisoned right there, and it was a man and a woman, and one of them was lowborn, which means they probably got married without consent. Alright, my heir has just become the court chaplain in the Duchy of Albany, and he's still possessed. Which is absolutely wonderful. But alright. I believe we actually pulled our grandson. Let's take a quick look. As you can see, we pulled our grandson, but he didn't turn out very well. Of course, he's a great marshal, but that diplomacy is exceptionally low. But we're going to get the clock rolling. Like I said, we're keeping around 500 gold to, just in case I need to deal with any revolts should my king pass away, or, if we need to purchase some mercenaries when England reforms. Alright, let's get that started again. This should be a full-length episode. The reason the last two were cut a little short was because I had a sore throat, and talking for any longer than about 20 minutes was causing some pretty heavy coughing fits. If you notice a couple cuts in the previous episodes, that's because I started coughing and I didn't want you to have to go through that. Alright, we've stolen some more technology. Taking a look at our technology while we wait. It's not really going up too fast. What we really want here is that castle infrastructure to jump up, and I'm not sure why that hasn't gone up that high. Now, as I said, I'm not real sure what technology is all about in this game. It doesn't seem to be very important. All of the Let's Plays I've seen, there's not a whole lot. It appears that it spreads, and that's realistic, in a sense. But, as you can see, if you look around us, we have a few areas that have close to the highest area. We've gained quite a bit ourselves, but, because I think we started off at one of the lower points of technology gain. But technology is strange. It really is. I wish I had a better understanding of it. This is interesting. The Fatimid Empire is actually increasing in size again. Our steward has just got us some more gold. But we have a new empire, the Rassid Empire down here, and the Umarid Empire is coming back. The Byzantine Empire has spread down even further. They're becoming massive. Rus has been taken over Perm has taken over a small area in Rus. It appears Norway's trying to reform a little bit. Somebody's gotten out of the fight with them. Alright, one of our Dukes of Cornwall passed away, and apparently he passed away before he could press his... Who is he trying to kill off? Get him to end that plot. I'm not sure who he's trying to kill off. But he was never able to finish killing... Or, sorry, fabricating the claim over here on Devon. Alright, and he said he's done. We've had a kinswoman pass away. Alright, let's pause real fast because I gotta reappoint my marshal. I'll make the Duke of Connacht my marshal. And we're gonna send him to research military tech in Gwynedd again. We can press the de jure ducal claims of both of these areas. Now, this is interesting. No, he is still currently in a war to install Prince Christian in Norway. So I don't know that he gained... Doesn't appear that he gained. He appears to actively be part of Trondelag here now. But we're still waiting for that to clear itself up. We have some sons we're not worried about. Weak claims. I could press a claim on Norway. I could press a claim on England, but since we're a kingdom, pressing the claim for England would basically turn him into the King of England, and we wouldn't be in control of it. And then I have various parts in England. I also have the ability to cause him to claim Aragon. One of the things that I want to look at here, because I've been thinking about that for a while, is Aragon doesn't seem to exist anymore. As you can see down here, none of this area is actually Aragon. Like, it brought us down here to look, but none of the area is highlighted. When you cut back up here, Aragon is simply two areas in the middle of England, which I find just hilarious. Now, this may be because England does control one area right here, but I'm not sure. Let's get the clock started again. I'm up to about 1,300, which puts me at 800 gold above. Part of me is tempted to go ahead and I could keep building up on my areas, or I could create, I believe, another city or something in Gwynedd and make a little bit more money. I do believe, however, that all I'm going to do is keep upgrading my areas for now. On the off chance we do immediately go into war, I want to make sure that my fortification levels are fairly high. Alright, my daughter-in-law has just passed away, which means that my grandson, the heir after my son passes away, is now the Duke of Albany. Alright, and this should turn him directly into one of our vassals again. He's already picked up a new wife, it seems. Oh, no. That was his mother, of course. He's married the Duchess of Albany, who is not really that great. And in fact is a kinswoman. So, things are looking up for us after we pass away, aren't they? We do have an unmarried heir, because our heir's wife just passed away. So let's go ahead and see if I can't invite him back to my court. He's not going to come along with us, which means we're also not going to be able to arrange marriage for him. So I'm not sure how that's going to turn out for us, but let's go ahead and keep building little things here and there. Go ahead and upgrade to an expanded keep there. We've got about 300 gold I'm willing to get rid of right now. We just had a kinswoman come of age. Okay, we have another revolt. I'm going to go ahead and deal with that here right after I upgrade to a large keep in Aberfraw. As you can see, we got about 2,000 here, and they immediately raise their troops, and those armies get pretty much decimated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause, and we're just going to pull up the levies from the surrounding areas. Once again, this should be enough. I'm going to go ahead and send them all into Kildare. Once they get there, I'll appoint leaders to the army, and I may attempt to focus on absolutely making sure that the leaders are good, just without my king, because he's apparently, even at the age of 58, is the best martial mind in the kingdom. But there's a high likelihood that he'll end up dying in the middle of this combat, and that's not something I want. We're going to put in an unpredictable leader on that flank. A defender unyielding who has a good morale while defending, but that's not really that big a deal. Put Gilcom here on the other flank. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to toss Gilcom in because he's got flanking bonuses when he attacks. And then, like always, since how they put their troops for rebels are always in the center flank, we're just going to leave them a small levy size on each side. But we're going to attack with pretty much everyone in the center. We'll get that attack started. And as you can see, since I decided to go away from I'm going to put in people I dislike, who tend to have low martial abilities, we decimated them. We only lost 200 soldiers. We'll go ahead and send them away. As I said, taking a quick look down here, we still have the Kingdom of Aragon smack dab in the middle of the King of England, and I'm really hoping that this goes away too when the King of England takes over, because this will be one less area we can actively take when that time passes. Alright, we just had something built. But as we are waiting, let's go ahead and take a look over here. We can start seeing that this really doesn't appear to be ending soon. We're basically waiting on him to start giving up his battles here and there. And then sooner or later, all should be forgiven, I guess. But that's the number one thing we're waiting on. As I said, at worst, what I may do is, if I hit the age of 65 before getting those claims, I'm just going to press the 3 claims we have in England, possibly ending that war early, and then we'll run what we can. In fact, I may begin that here just right now. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, we have somebody attempting to fabricate a claim. This is somebody that kind of likes us, but he's a terrible leader. He's currently not married. If I can arrange a matrilineal marriage with him, or one of my children, I won't toss him into, or just one of my dynasty, I won't toss him into jail. And he won't take it, which means we may be holding off on that fight after all. I'm going to go ahead and pause real fast. We have a 79% chance of actually arresting him. And Meath is right here, I believe. Yeah, so he's got 3 places. He could actually be one of our bigger problems. He's not the biggest, of course. That would be Athol if he decides to run away. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and imprison him. He's basically by himself. Alright, and he raised his flag in rebellion. I'm going to pause again. Let's see if I can call in allies and if it's worthwhile. He really likes me, whoever my daughter-in-law here is. Way off in... way off down here. Is the only ally I have? No, I have an ally in the King of Aragon. And he likes us. But he's currently dealing with his own problems down here. I'm not sure I want to involve him with this. What it may do, however, is it may end his war faster if he has to send troops to us, or if he decides to send any. So we're going to send him a plea. And once again, just right around here, I'm going to go ahead and call up these soldiers. We're going to try to get them all into Brythme here. Use shift to move them in a specific pattern so that I don't end up walking them through an area that I don't want to fight yet. And we'll get that clock started. Alright, and of course he'll join us. He really did like us. I'm not sure it's actually going to do much for us, though. But as you can see, we got some people moving around. We've got another righteous imprisonment that popped up. We have, once again, Duke Io of Cornwall is trying to fabricate a claim. Or, sorry, the next Duke of Cornwall is trying to claim Devon. And we didn't have a problem with that the first time. I still don't have a problem with it. Alright, we stole a little bit more technology. Pause real fast. We got them all together. Going to put everybody in there. Once again, I think we're going to run on the exact same group. This time I am going to leave Don in there in the center, even with his morale bonuses. This may have been exactly what I had last time. But let's go ahead and send these guys into Leinster and see if I can't knock them down a peg or two. Alright, we just broke the center flank. We lost... Okay, we didn't lose the right flank. We got close to losing the right flank. Alright, we still have plenty of morale, so I'm going to continue chasing them into Dublin. This may cause them to lose enough soldiers that I don't have to worry about chasing them around. I'm not sure, though. Yeah, we knocked them down to 0. So now I'll just sit here and let them slowly win this. Alright, and the Knights of St. John have built a new area in the county of Archa. I'm assuming it's somewhere down here. As you can see, the Holy Roman Empire is actually doing quite well in Jerusalem, whereas normally you don't see people doing well in Jerusalem because it's hard. You don't earn troops there for a couple years after conquering, and it's hard to get troops down there because we're usually all the way over here. But that's why the Holy Roman Empire is down there. Now, as you can see, Germany is split away from them, and they have a couple issues down here. So there's a good possibility that them holding that area down there is basically messing them up. But it's interesting. Alright, I'm not going to call in any other rulers, so we're going to go ahead and kick that away. I'm still not worried about trying to take this, not until the Norway area is finished. I'm not giving any of my sons any land. And we got a few claims here. Kaiser of the Holy Roman Empire, Kaiser Karl the Pious. We have a couple claims we can press for him, but we're not going to. Alright, even though we called him to war to aid us, he's not sending anybody, and it may simply be that he just doesn't have anybody. It looks like right now he's almost completely taken over. So it truly may have just been a nominal, sure, we'll send the no guys we have to you. And since there isn't anybody but him, I'm going to click off and we'll just leave that claims one up there. Alright, we're back up to almost 1,200 gold, so I'm going to come back here and take a look again and find some more stuff to build up. I think we're going to build an archery range there. Keep upgrading our fortification levels. Just upgrade some of the smaller areas that we haven't really worked with. Alright, we're about to take our first area. This would likely go faster, but I'm not using any troops. Really, I'm not using any troops other than what was just available for me in Ireland alone. Apparently the second place we're attacking actually has more troops than the first place. Not quite sure how that worked, but slowly get those down. Pause real fast, you're going to have a break for a sec. And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to jump my speed up a little bit. Just going to keep this speed up until we finish taking everything. We have a betrothal that can marry. Our daughter can now marry Prince Robert of England. Oh, that may have been a problem. We probably couldn't have declared war against them. And it is a matrilineal marriage, so we'll be pulling them into us, which means there won't be too much of an issue if we decide that we want to attack them. So we're going to go ahead and pull them in. He's actually a fairly decent diplomat. I don't know that he's better than who's on my council, but it's a good idea to remember him. Alright, we have finished assaulting the second area, and I'm expecting that it's going to take us to get about 60 to 70% before we can take this area completely. I'll likely have to assault one more holding besides all the ones in this count. Alright, we have Count Gruffet of the Isle of Man seeks to fabricate a claim on the Duchy of the Isles. Here. So if he gets caught, he'll be put into prison, most likely. Alright, actually, we just hit 60%, and he's gone ahead and offered his surrender. We're going to back out, and we can now put him in prison. I think I'm going to do that. I'm sorry. We now revoke his duchy with no issue. We're going to do that. The problem that I have with it is I can't immediately turn around and revoke his county from him. As you can see, everybody will like me less for it, which means that he still has to be in charge of a county. So my choice is really to do this, but before we do that, I'm actually going to give Oriel back to Tyrone here. I don't remember what his name was, but we should be able to find him through here. Count of Oriel right there. And that makes that de jure duchy look a little bit better. And I suppose we're going to give our marshal the duchy, just so that we can get rid of the penalty. We'll include the lower titles. There's no big issue with that. But now the lines look a little bit closer to what is actually de jure duchies for that area. Alright, we're back up to 1400 again. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump the gun here, and instead of building more, I'm just going to build a new city within Gwynedd. Alright. Look around real fast. I'm going to go ahead and see if I got anything cheap. Alright, the guy that just revolted is asking for better accommodations. We're just going to toss him into the oubliette. Because, in fact, his heir, who we may be able to, if I'd have thought about it, I could have arranged this betrothal and made sure that one of my children inherited this. We can still arrange a betrothal, but nobody of my dynasty. I will, however, see if I can just set one up to possibly, and I can't. Okay. To possibly put somebody Welsh on the throne, and that will take care of some of the issue. Alright. As you can see, there appears to be quite a bit of... We've been asked to join... we've been asked to join his battle for his claim on England and the Castilian War for the county of Zaragoza, and that. We're going to decline. I'm actually going to let myself lose that. Lose that. Because I don't want to get into war on their side. I know that it would possibly work for us in essence. If I'd have thought about it, we just had a matrilineal marriage with the son of whoever is going to actually inherit England. We could have just inherited England if I'd have joined him and made sure that he kept his claim on England. Can we offer to join his war? I'm actually tempted to offer to join his war just for the claim on England. What that would do is make sure that he retains England. And one of my children would put a Matherfall on the English throne. I'm not going to do that. I don't think that's going to happen. But we are going to make a move here. Become lustful here, I suppose. But alright, the guy that threw the revolt just died in our dungeon. Our Chancellor has managed to sow some distrust between the Duchess of Brittany and one of her vassals. Alright, I'm going to drop the speed back down again. We're actually going to end this at the first of the year. Alright, my wife is retired to the convent. I can go ahead and call this a perfect occasion to spend with my lover. I once again did not gain lustful. Alright, my daughter-in-law has been locked up. Someone just became regent. However, we're not too far from having a Matherfall as the Count of the area. In fact, one of our sons just became the regent for Toronto. And while it's tempting to make sure a Matherfall gets on the throne right here, we want this to actually be within our control. And I'd rather not fight a family member for control of England. Alright, we have the rise of the Hansa. German merchant guilds and trade cities along the shores of northern Europe have come together in Bremen to form the Hanseatic League with Grand Princess Anastasia of the Holy Roman Empire. Loose confederation of free imperial cities. This is bound to ruffle some feathers. Alright, let's pause real fast. As you can see, they've popped up right here. Coming down here, Princess of the Holy Roman Empire is not the ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, so I'm not sure exactly what's happening here. One of the other issues that pops up about this specifically is if we take a look real fast, they don't have much hope to gain a foothold out here. You can see this. Genoa has even claimed all of these spots up here. Pisa has one up here. Gotland didn't really get as far as he probably should have. I'm not sure how he's going to survive there. Alright, I'm going to bring this back into Independent Realms, and instead of finishing out into the beginning of the year, I'm just going to let it finish out this month. We'll call it there. Alright, I got it paused on the 1st of July in 1203. That means that we've gone from 1066 to 1203, so 434, 137 years, I think, right now. So we've had probably 2 to 3 generations go through, and we're still going. In fact, Wales is more powerful than historically it's probably ever been. And only will get more powerful, especially if he survives to the end of the English conflict. Which would be about the only other reason to join their battle is to end that conflict so that we could turn around and attack them again. But if we do that, we're using up troops that we'd want to use in that attack. Quick glance around. The Byzantine Empire has gotten even bigger. They've delved even a bit deeper into... Well, Ruthenia seems to have reformed and is now huge. We have what appears to be Novgorod right next to Novgorod. So we have the Count of Novgorod, who's independent of the Duke of Novgorod, which would be the Grand Principality, I think. I don't know if it's actually called a kingdom. I think it's just the Grand Principality of Novgorod. So that's interesting. Rus is tiny again and is currently being... appears to be taken by Romney. Okay. Sweden is weird right now. It seems to be split up in a whole bunch of different places. Norway is back down to what appears to be about 3, 4... There's an area down here. So Norway is spread to the winds right now. Iceland is still by itself over here. So there's some interesting things occurring. What I'm actually most interested in, however, is just how powerful the Byzantine Empire has gotten. I usually see them just held right here, and they don't have anything besides that. Oh, interesting. They actually have a little area in Jerusalem as well, north of Jerusalem. I don't know, Tripoli and Tortosa. So that's interesting. But alright, I'm going to let you guys go, and I will see you during the next episode. Thanks for watching.